Hello and welcome. Thank you for being here and investing your time in improving your English and yourself. There are relationships that start very loudly, but there are also relationships that start in silence. So silent that if you do not pay attention, people would never realize that between meetings, filming schedules, and busy marketing plans, two people are slowly moving into each other's orbit. I am the leader of the marketing team in that entertainment company. My job is to build strategies, shape images, and make artists stand out among hundreds of other names. I always feel proud that I'm the best in my team, someone who can turn an art product into a story that the public will remember. And he is a singer, a famous person, someone who always appears under the lights, is always called by name, and always stands in the center of attention. And he is also the one who made my heart skip the first time we met. He is 4 years older than me, old enough to make people feel safe, calm enough to never make things noisy, but also warm enough to make someone want to get closer and closer. The strangest thing is, we have quite similar faces. No one says it, but everyone thinks so. Similar facial features, similar eyes in some moments, and when we smile, it feels like we belong to the same story. People in the company joked that we are meant for each other. At first, I just smiled, but later, this made me feel shy to look at him for too long, because I knew my feelings had gone beyond a simple joke. I liked him first, long before he realized it, but I never made the first move. In the workplace, especially where he is, I always keep a clear boundary. I was afraid things would be seen too early, afraid my private life would become gossip, afraid other people's eyes would ruin this very soft feeling. He was different. He was the one who made the first move. Not loud, not showing off, just very careful messages at the right time, stopping after meetings just to ask if I had eaten, and simple sentences that made me think a lot later. Are you tired? I think you are working too much. Let's eat together. I don't like eating alone. There was no clear confession, but there are things that do not need to be said to be understood. I understood. And I agreed to enter a relationship that we both decided to keep secret. Not because I was ashamed, but because I did not want my love to be under the attention of work, and he respected that. The early days of our relationship were very strange. We still met at the company as usual, still worked, still had meetings, still discussed plans, but just one look at each other made everything around feel slower. Some nights, after everyone left, he stayed in the studio. I stayed to fix marketing plans. No one planned it, but we naturally stayed late together. And then there was a familiar moment. He brought a guitar. I sat across from him, opened my laptop, but did not work right away. He started playing music. I unconsciously sang along. His voice was deep and warm, a little rough on low notes. My voice was brighter and softer. We blended together like this was not the company studio, but a very private place that no one knew. One day he said, "You sing better than I thought." I smiled. "You are a singer, aren't you? Afraid of losing fans by saying that?" He looked at me for a long time and said very softly, "I'm not afraid of losing fans. I'm afraid of losing you." I did not answer. My heart no longer followed logic. We hid our relationship very well. At least we thought so. Until one evening, a very normal evening. The company had a movie night with some artists and staff. We went separately, did not sit near each other, and did not do anything beyond coworkers. But life always has moments we cannot control. That day, another female singer in the company came with her boyfriend to the movie, and by chance, she saw us. Not a very clear moment, just his eyes looking at me a little longer, just me fixing his shirt when he stood up, just small things that no one would notice if they were not paying attention. But people always notice what they want to see. Rumors started, slowly but surely. The day the company called us in, I was not surprised. He stood next to me, very calm. He did not deny it and did not avoid it. He only said one sentence. We are serious." I looked at him at that moment, and for the first time I clearly saw that this was not a temporary relationship and not a passing feeling. It was something we both chose, even though we knew there were risks. After that, we no longer hid it, not openly showing it, but not avoiding it either. We still worked, still a marketer and a singer, but everything now had a deeper meaning. We understood each other better at work and also in life. When he was stressed because of his busy schedule, I prepared everything he needed, from marketing plans to small things like his favorite drink. When I was under deadline pressure, he sat next to me, said little, and just played soft guitar music to calm me down. We did not need many words of love because everything was already in small actions. Then, one day, he proposed to me. Not on stage, not under big lights, but on a very normal night after we both worked late. He put down his guitar, looked at me for a long time and said, "I think I have waited long enough." Before I could understand, he took a ring from his pocket. "Do you want to continue being the person who writes the rest of life with me?" I did not cry at that moment. I just smiled, a smile that I knew I had waited a long time for. Our wedding was not very big, but it was very warm. There was music, there were friends, there were people who had seen our journey from the early hidden days, and there were songs we used to play together, now played on a day that was no longer a secret. When I stood next to him at the wedding, I saw everything we had been through. Secret looks at the company, late nights in the studio, silent understanding without words. And I realized that some love does not come from perfection. It comes from two people choosing to stay even when they could leave. He held my hand tightly and said, "In the end, I did not lose you." I looked at him, and this time I answered, "No, we found each other." And between all the lights, music, and applause, I knew our story was not a fairy tale. It was a real story. A story that began very quietly and ended with one clear truth: we belong to each other.